If you are a male or unisex secondhand thrifter, let me tell you, Helsinki is for you. I'm so in love with this city since the first time I went there. The same goes for the Christmas lovers. It's just an awesome place, especially during the holiday season. This and the coming vlog are all about Helsinki, so if you have a few minutes, we would like to show you all the geeky and beautiful shops we discovered, not just the fashion-related ones, despite the fact that half of them were closed when we went there 2 days before Christmas. Now this time, because Helsinki isn't as known to me as Riga, I did a bit of research on Christmas markets beforehand. This and some inspiration from above helped me discover locations I probably wouldn't have otherwise. I did not go and visit the famous public Sompa sauna, a free sauna in the middle of town, basically open to everyone. But to be honest, I'm also not a Finn, so it was probably way too cold for normal people who aren't Finns and aren't used to it. I didn't have time for many others of my Finnish friends, and some were out of town, but I made sure to hook up with a former intern of mine and now friend, Anle from Vietnam. Pay attention, and you will catch a short glimpse of her later on. We have plans to travel together in the future, so you might also see more of her later on. Day one started, obviously, with me hopping on the ferry to Helsinki from Tallinn. Now, they overcharge tourists quite a bit, so my first tip is get the newsletter to any of the Viking Line, Eckerö Line, or Tallink cruise ships. You will travel much cheaper on one of their offers than rather buying a card from the counter. Eckerö and Viking Line specifically have tickets from like 5 to 8 euros upwards for one way, respectively. The Christmas decoration on the ship was lovely, and I even managed to get some gluten-free bread for 50 cents, which made me very happy. And then came the first big gift of my journey. I spotted a corgi. I spent the next 1.5 hours watching YouTube videos and the corgi. And I also petted the corgi. Actually, the corgi was under constant surveillance by me, but it didn't seem to mind. I also checked out their very lovely shop and found this ad of Adam Driver and thought, oh my god, the poor guy must have felt really ridiculous shooting this photo. One cool thing is that shortly before you enter Helsinki, there's this tiny little island with a house on it that every time I see it, I'm thinking like it must be so cool to live on this island. You need a boat to get there. When I disembarked the cruise ship, I spent about 15 minutes exploring the surroundings, looking at the unique architecture. They basically have a sauna right next to the port, which is operated all year long, and opposite it, the famous flying cinema, which is basically a virtual reality ride over Helsinki. I didn't have the money or the time to explore it, but it looked pretty impressive. I passed by a bridge where lovers obviously deposit locks with hearts and stuff, and I really love this idea as a romantic, but people just know that it actually destroys the structure of a bridge, so one shouldn't do it, as much as you might be tempted, and I would be very tempted, but don't do it. City planners and everybody will just love you. I walked from the port into the city center and was on my way to the main Christmas market, which is on Senatori place, when I discovered this awesome shop. They had gluten-free Aurora Borealis pastilles and all kinds of really beautiful jewelry and accessories. Then I went on to Senatori Place. I was unfortunately a little bit too early, but to be honest, from what I saw there, it's a great Christmas market. It just didn't impress me that much. The markets I visited later, however, were awesome. I generally think that, the main Christmas market is usually pretty conservative because you don't want to make any mistake and appeal to everybody. So I wasn't too unhappy that I actually didn't stay until it was fully opened. I did film around a bit, and then I made my way further into town. I knew I wanted to see the old student house that apparently had a really interesting Christmas market. But before that, I just mindlessly strolled through town and explored the beautiful decoration, Christmas cheer, listened to Christmas songs coming from the coffee bars. And then I discovered Kaniston Laipomo, a bakery that had really, really, really tasty pastries and cakes. And I'm normally not the sweet type of person, but I was very tempted and eventually ended up having a piece of Christmas cake. When you're coming from Estonia, the prices in Finland will instantly kill you. They're about 3 to 4 times as high. And this bakery was not expensive by Helsinki standards, and it had the most tasty food I've ever seen, sweet and savory. So I will be back with more money next time. While there, I also started my exploration of Finnish peculiarities and started to, in a friendly way, stalk dogs and humans, especially when they were wearing unusual things. This lady, for example, had helkurs, which is like reflectors, really beautiful ones on her clothes. Pretty much half of the population has the reflectors, which in Helsinki and in Tallinn and in any dark place are literally a lifesaver. Hence, the Baltic countries specifically have kind of the most professionalized and beautiful reflectors I've ever seen. 5 minutes further down the road, I came across Kauppakeskus city center shopping mall, which had a couple of bargain stores in the basement, and where I came across this cute little dog. I also bought some cheap tea and pastilles for my sore throat in one of the bargain stores. Saiturin Börssi. They also have a chain of bargain stores called Normal, which I urge you to check out. And that's when I noticed that the Finnish dogs rock when it comes to their fancy winter clothes, because they're so cute. And this one actually wore a Finnish brand. A few minutes further down the road is the famous Marimekko. It's one of the biggest Finnish brands. I saw about a dozen women wearing bags, shoppers, with the famous Marimekko flowers. And I have had a wall tapestry from Marimekko that looks Japanese for 15 years now. Opposite Marimekko is Stockmann, and I'm starting to develop a little Stockmann fetish here because it's one of the easiest to orient buildings in pretty much all of the Baltic cities. It's basically the Selfridges of the Baltics, I would say. And in Helsinki, it has beautiful Christmas decoration, beautiful animated Christmas windows. The insides were gorgeous as well. I didn't stay long and then went on to the fairly famous Old Student Houses Christmas market. That is a Christmas market I really encourage everybody to visit for many reasons. For once, they have like 2 or 3 cafes in there that are all very good. It's very comfortable. It's in a very beautiful old building. You will have a lot of variety of handmade items, but also like geeky items like this illuminated wall tapestry with the Christmas trees, some special equipment for knitting, handmade creepy and cute dolls. These mice and unicorns are actually handmade in the south of Finland, I was told. And I also befriended a lady who made jewelry out of old zippers. My battery was slowly giving up, so I made my way up towards Helsinki Central Library Oodi, where I knew I would find charges. I'd also heard from a Finnish friend of mine that it's an awesome place for reading books and chilling out when you have nothing better to do, and he wasn't wrong. I, of course, didn't have that much time, but I took enough time to charge my mobile phone, my laptop, and also had a hot drink. The library is awesome because it has plenty of space for children and families to play together, read books, chill. They of course have lots of comic books as well, and a lot of art that is being exhibited in the public space. The architecture is stunning as well, so give it a try and take a look when you're in town. Then I was in quite a rush and passed by some very beautiful buildings and greenery on my way to the Finnish patent office that is also in part the place where you can get information on entrepreneurship in Finland. I was curious, so I had booked an appointment with a lady there that informed me about the conditions and circumstances of founding a company in Finland. I ended up with lots of information and this very well done prospectus that really has everything you need to know about starting a business in Finland. And I recommend that especially to students. You can see actually when you look at the entrepreneurial system in Finland that it's pretty much geared towards startups and students. It was already getting very dark, so I made my way out towards the accommodation I'd booked for the night. It was in a lovely old house a little outside of Helsinki. They had a separate women's and men's area with a bathroom specifically for ladies, and I'd booked the smallest room, which was still very comfortable. They also had a sauna, which I didn't get to use because I was just too tired and too busy. Maybe next time. If you liked this video, please subscribe. And if you're curious to see what happened on day 2 of my Helsinki vlog, please tune in next week. And if you're interested in exploring Tallinn either from a fashion perspective or from an entrepreneurship perspective, please book one of my tours.